And welcome back, everyone, to the Bulldog Beat Basketball Show. I'm Rob Bentley and Sandy Golston, joined by the head coach now of the Ferris State men's basketball squad, Andy Bronkema. And Coach, first of all, welcome to the first episode of the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
What's it been like, I guess, just having a chance to coach these guys through 19 games so far this year, and obviously off to a great start at 19-2 on the year?
Yeah, it's been a great group as far as their willingness to be coached, to listen, and to come together in their roles, to accept their roles, but try to expand their roles. So that's been a coach's dream. We're ahead of the pace a little bit. Of what I was imagining this summer, and that's a credit to the players. And we've won some close games, but yeah, we're here now. So we want to finish the season strong, and the second part of the season is such a grind. Everybody knows each other in the GLIAC, and the games get really physical, and there's not a lot of surprises. And then teams get banged up. You deal with a few little injuries here or there. You don't know who you're going to have available. You don't know who they have available. So it's just a reminder of what the end of the season is always like. It's no different than last year or the year before, and this is how it is. So here we are now with a great start, a team that was very new. Losing all the production and all the experience we had last year, and bringing in some key pieces, a freshman in the rotation, 3 transfers, but then all the returners really just having pretty extensive role increases, and how they all just took that in stride and did well with it. So that's kind of where we are now and how we got there, mix of our team. And the great thing is we know that we have a competitive team and we can beat any team any given night. So that's good. We just want to increase our margin for error so that maybe if we don't play perfect, there's different ways we can try to scratch out a victory.
You mentioned those new guys coming into the program. Maybe just talk about how they've bought in and how they've adapted well here in a very short amount of time.
That's missing in sports. That buy-in and that team concept is just a constant daily battle. So when you bring in, the leading scorer, first team all conference player from a, NAIA school, and he has to come in and end up coming off the bench, and he doesn't shoot the ball as much, but his value, you can argue, is similar and the same, but he has to buy into that, and he has to want to be a part of, Ferris State University and the things that we have going on here. And then and that's Donnie Brown Boyd, and he could be accepting of that. And we try to let them know in the recruiting process this is kind of what it's going to be like. And they say, yeah. And, we're brutally honest with them, but at the same time, he's done so well with it. And then, Kenny Turner, he's all-league performer at his old Division II school, King, and his averages are a little higher than they are here. And again, he has to accept that for a chance to win, for a chance to be part of something special. But there's a chance that you don't either. And you look at his numbers and his efficiency and some of the things he's doing on the floor. I would argue show a great increase in his game and his basketball ability. But again, the numbers are a little lower and his minutes per game are a little lower. So it's hard to get everybody to buy in, and it's hard to spread the shots around and the minutes around. But that's just the type of program we have, and the guys that aren't interested in that, they don't come here. And the benefits of it are just learning to play together, learning to sacrifice of yourself for the chance of the greater good, and the depth piece of it. There's a lot of guys playing, and there's a lot of guys just underneath them that could play or could step up. So that's a good thing when it comes to team, but it's probably counterculture the way we've been doing it. And you bring in you talk about Tyler. You want to talk about all the players, the third transfer that we brought in. He's a starting point guard. On a lot of college basketball teams. We've seen all the special plays that he's already made this year, but Jimmy Scholar's a 5th-year point guard, has started most of the games in his career. And for us, starting has never been the main thing. It's just, playing your role, being a star in your role, and kind of combining Jimmy and Tyler together, or Kenny and Nate together, or positions together, and what do we get for the full 40 minutes, and how can that combine? But those 3 transfers have come in and really taken to the culture and the roles very quickly, and that's been huge for us.
And, along those lines, you had a moment up in Marquette with Jack Ammerman after the game, after the GLIAC championship, and I snapped a picture of it while I was on the court, and you shared a hug with him, and he was a guy that put up some big numbers during his career, and he came in and accepted a role, and you talked about, Donnie and Kenny accepting roles. What's that like when it clicks for them and they realize that they can fit into something that's bigger than themselves as individuals?
Well, I think in the recruiting process, you try to explain that to them, but they don't really understand it until the end. So the hug you're talking about was just, hey, it worked, and it was all worth it. But the goal is, if we don't win the championship, the hug is a different hug. It was still worth it. We're still going to stay connected. The process of chasing the championship was still worth it. But the hug, maybe Jack and I only remember it, or it's behind the scenes, But that opportunity, Jack and Deshaun, those one-year guys last year that came in and became part of a program and part of a team that does it a certain way, the way we need to do it here at Ferris State to be successful. And everybody's got their own secret sauce, their own formula, but they came in and did that, and those hugs, were gratifying. At the same time, there's going to be years and maybe multiple years and days when those hugs aren't after championships. They're after brutal losses or failures. So how do you make those hugs powerful too? And I think about that, and I want that to be the case. But that's what you're hoping for, and that's what you're selling. We've done it before, so there's a chance to do it. You're signing up for a chance.
And I want to talk about, beyond basketball, because you're going to have a relationship with these guys ongoing. And I see pictures of you all the time at weddings with your former players. And Rob and I talk about it. The 18 team comes back so many times, and they're getting a little bit older, but they're staying connected. And I've seen pictures of you taking photos with your guys after they get their college degrees. And what's that like for you to see them complete that process to get that college degree, but then also to remain connected to the program?
Well, for me, it's one of the things I enjoy the most about my job. So I don't want to say it's easy, and it's getting harder because now you have, the older you get, the more people you have to stay connected to. So I always tell the guys, look, you start reaching out to me. If I contacted everybody, once or twice a week, I wouldn't have any time to do anything else. So you got to be intentional about it too. But I love the relationships, and if you're investing into these young men so that they're successful in their lives, then you want to pay attention to their lives. And when they come back and they hang out at the house, or they send a text, or we connect in the off season, or they come back to a game. We went to play Roosevelt this year, and we had 5 or 6 Chicago area guys come back, and the ones that couldn't quite make it to the game or over to the hotel, I was texting back and forth with and reconnecting with them, even from when I was the assistant coach here. And that stuff is special, and it's just something I like to do. It's something I like to do, and to take those pictures when we go to Wayne State and have the alum there, and just I'm pulling for those guys. And I just want basketball. Part of our mission statement is for basketball to be a tool that guides our life, and I really want that to be the case. I want them to take their experiences here and use them for future success, and just keep climbing the ladder and whatever they're passionate about. So I love following those guys, and I one of my favorite roles in my life is being a dad. So when they start to get married and have some kids of their own, man, I love to be on the outside looking in, and however I can inspire them or continue to be in relationship with them, I will. And that's a big part of the job. And with people coming and going a little bit more, transferring and the different rules, I've heard it said that that's being taken away a little bit. You know, the high school feel of being with somebody for 4 years, or we redshirt guys, so maybe 5 years, and we've had some 6-year guys with COVID. And at the same time, it's like, if it's changing, it's changing. Then you build a relationship with a 1-year guy, and Taekwon Greer was a 1-year guy. Taylor Adway was a 1-year guy. We've had some 1-year guys, and I still talk to them too. Ty stayed at the house, and Taylor's still playing overseas. And he reached out to me last week on his own. Coach, how's it going? And I love that. And I'm glad you brought it up, because it's motivating. It keeps your fire going, and it's definitely a passion of mine.
What about the environment that we have here at Ferris State with your fellow head coaches and assistant coaches that are around here? And we talk about so many of the championships, but you see how the food is made behind the scenes, because you get to rub elbows and chop it up and talk shop with so many of these great coaches. And we know about Coach Daniels, who's wrapping up an incredible career, and did in the championship success, Coach Anise, Coach Brandel Wilhelm, and Coach Kurt. Just talk a little bit about being able to be surrounded by these great minds that are doing great things with young people.
Well, it does help you out as a coach, like you're referring to, but mainly for me, it's quality of life, your work life, because when you're a college coach, it's pretty much your lifestyle. So when you're rubbing elbows with, like-minded people, your quality of work life is better, because the atmosphere in the office is joyful, it's innovative, it's creative, it's competitive, and, it just makes coming to work. And it's not just those coaches you mentioned, it goes beyond, to the administration, just to everybody right now. And we got to work hard to keep this thing going. So if we like the atmosphere and we like this type of relationship and we like how then we have to be about it, and we have to be part of it, and we have to contribute to it. So, I like to walk around, the facility and check in with people and see how they're doing. And I appreciate it when they do that with me, and whether it's a game of pickleball here or there, or just, catching up in the office, or a text after a game, and really following the other coaches' teams and knowing a little details about their players. That makes it more enjoyable, because it's hard. This is a hard job, and there's a lot of pressure. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. So when you feel like you're doing it, with other people that care, it's a good feeling.
Coach, obviously this past weekend you went on the road, and always tough to play on the road in the GLIAC, and tough loss on Thursday night, but maybe talk about how the guys responded in that win over Purdue Northwest.
Yeah, I thought you never want to lose any games, right? That's not the plan, but every year you lose some, and you when you bounce back, you try to make immediate corrections, and we didn't play as hard as we needed to and as focused as we needed to in that game. And if we played with more energy and more focus, we still could have lost, because Parkside played great and they had a great game plan. But the bounce back was just talking about putting our best foot forward and letting the results be the results, not going in with a lackluster effort or a lack of focus. So that's what I was proud of with the bounce back. And, right now Purdue Northwest is 0-8 in the league. And it must be the best 0-8 team, in the nation, right? It didn't feel like that. We knew it wasn't going to be like that. They have tons of talent. And Parkside's slow start was really based on some injuries, and we knew that. And, Coach has been, he might be the longest tenured head coach. They joined the GLIAC a little late, but just so experienced. And Parkside is famous for never beating themselves. If you remember the year before, 3 one-possession games, and we came out on top, but this one we didn't. So they deserve to win that game. We bounce back and make a few big shots at the end of that game, and then close it out and got the split on the road. So, and we're on to the next week, trying to win those 2 games one at a time.
Finally here, I was going to ask you about this week, and obviously you come back, you get a chance to play at home, and really some high-level basketball, 2 great teams coming in, led by some outstanding head coaches as well. Yeah,
it's kind of almost this marks the midway through, right, after these 2 games. And right now I think it's the top 4 teams in the standings. I don't pay as much attention to the standings as I probably should. You start to do that a little bit more at the end of the year, but I believe it's the top 4 in the standings currently. So, it's a kind of an early test here, and then, see where this week falls, and then just every game counts the same though. It's just, there are rivalry games, and there's games matched up against teams that are, tied for first and third or second, but they all count the same. So if you lose one of those games and you win another one that you shouldn't, or you pulled out at the last second, it's what you did with a full body of work for 20 games. So we're excited to be back home. The conference schedule has been 7 home, 3 on the road, and then it flips, right? So we're going to have 3 home games and then 7 on the road the second 10. So, if you're looking at it that way, you have to build yourself maybe a little bit of a buffer, because it's going to be tougher in the second half of the conference season, just being on the road, and life on the road in the GLIAC is difficult.
Well, Coach, thanks for the time, and we appreciate you stopping by, and I know you got to get to practice, but best of luck here this week, and we'll talk more about it coming up.
Good. Yeah. Hey, next time we'll talk. We got to do like a little pop culture, or a little, joke of the day or something, just
do it.
Yeah, we'll do it. But love to talk basketball. Appreciate you guys, and appreciate you doing this.
We'll be back with more of the Bulldog Beat Basketball Show after this quick break on the Bulldog Sports Network.